evening, Leroy. How are you?
I am good, actually. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, listen, it's a Wednesday, and it's nice because you remember last week we were talking on the show about how I was going back and forth about whether to turn on the heat and all that.
Yeah.
I haven't had to worry about that this week. It's been a really nice week outside, so it's kind of nice that
my boss is at my boss is at
Wait a second, I know that theme song.
I was trying to share it, but my boss is at a it's funny because he's at a convention in the Ozarks, and he sent our production director an email saying we're talking about this thing called ChatGPT, and I think it can help us. And we're all like, do we tell him we've been using it now for about a year and a half? Nah, we're just gonna let him have his fun.
Yeah, just be like, what is AI? We've never heard of it. We've never heard of that. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, we've got our AI theme song. Has he heard this yet?
That's true. That's true.
I mean, it's pretty awesome. Our theme song. It's time to. We got a big show planned. We got a lot to talk about. But first off, we got to recap the pick contest from last week. And Leroy,
can't lose on a bye, Paul. Can't lose on a bye.
Rough one for you last week, Leroy. When it came to the pick contest, it started off Grayson County at Seneca. Leroy, the Cougs let you down. Seneca came away with the upset victory. Wild football game. Let's come back and talk about high school football after I recap the pick contest here. You're supposed to be at a concert.
Yeah, why are you
at a concert?
It's like she had to make her presence known.
Taylorville at Charleston. My losing streak ended. I finally got one right.
You finally got one. You've broken the curse.
Taylorville won. We can come back and talk about that here in a few minutes. Kentucky at Florida. Leroy, you actually got that one right. You picked Florida.
Great.
Northwestern against Wisconsin. Northwestern, you and America were homers, Leroy. I went with Wisconsin. I got the point there. There was no Bears game, or no Western game last week. No Bears game as well. We all picked the Bengals, got the point there. Leroy, you picked Texas to beat Georgia. Georgia and America. We both went with that.
Ugh, that was awful.
I picked Fresno State to beat Nevada, and that was who won the game. I got the point there. Michigan at Illinois. Leroy and America got the point there for picking Illinois. And then Lions at the Vikings. Leroy went with the Vikings. Myself and America went with the Lions. So the final tally last week, Leroy, 3 points. Good job. Well done. America got 4 points.
Falling apart as the season progresses. That sounds about Leroy.
America got 4 points, and I came away with 6 points. Your overall standings, I am in first at 48. Leroy in second at 40. America in third at 39. So Leroy and America are right there, neck and neck, when it comes to that. Do you want to talk about your high school game first, or
yeah, we can talk about that for a second. It's funny when you go to press boxes when you're a broadcaster for an away team. And Sam, you know this as well as I do. There are some press boxes that are absolutely fantastic. And then there are other press boxes where it feels like they're flying by the seat of their pants. Just kind of going as it goes. And so we went to this game against Charleston, and I brought my dad with, and we were running a little bit late because that's how it goes when my dad comes with me, is that we always run late. So I'm rushing up there and getting everything all set.
What, was he too busy watching MSNBC?
Yeah. No, stopping to pee. He's an old man, so we got to stop every 10 minutes. But we get up there
to get his latest updates on the Kamala Twitter. I thought that was his.
We get up there and we're up against the wall. So the scoreboard is over here. Mm-hmm. You literally have to stick your head out the window every time you want to see the scoreboard. But Charleston hadn't won a conference game yet, and the press box, not the radio broadcasters, the guy who does the PA announcing, the guy that does the scoreboard, the guys that sit up there, were getting increasingly upset with their team for how they were playing defense. They were locked into a man-to-man defense in football. And so all Taylorville was doing was running out routes and beating them every single time. Taylorville scored on the first 4 plays. They did a 2-point conversion because we don't have a kicker. And you hear the entire press box go, there's nobody on 84. And it's like our quarterback heard them because he looked up, realized that the guy was wide open and hit him. And you just see the whole upstairs room just go. But yes, it was a good game. Taylorville played really, really well. They will somehow get a playoff spot and drive 3 hours to go get beat by 40. So that's how our season will go for the
Cougs. It was an interesting game, Leroy. For one, we had to go into Louisville, which is always fun hitting traffic. It's just a different level of traffic going to that game. But
yep.
We get there, and you can tell that they're not used to having radio coverage and like video coverage, because we get set up, and I talked a little bit with their AD when we got there, and their AD comes up to me in about 45 minutes later, and he goes, "Hey, is that your camera?" Because what we do is we have like 5 cameras that we set up around the field, and so on. So we had one like in the corner of the bleachers to kind of get a wide shot. It's usually our, like, when we're coming back, how a stadium will have the wide shot of the field and so on. It's just something that, maybe is used for 15 seconds for the entire game and so on.
Yep.
He goes, "Is that yours?" And I was like, "Yes." He says, "Can you move it?"
No.
And I said, "Why?" I said, "Is that like where your student section is?" And maybe this was a courtesy, like, "Hey, just to let you know, there's going to be 35 high schoolers right there.
Yeah.
Probably not the smartest idea to have that there." And he goes, "No, our coaching staff wants it moved." And I said, "What?" So long story short, their coaching staff thought, I guess somehow, that we were going to be like feeding that feed to our team, who is then going to be able to spy on their sideline. And I was like, "What?" I told him, I was like, and he goes, "I know." He's like, "I know." And the AD was like, "I know that this is the craziest thing you've ever heard." And I was like, it's up there. But it ended up, I talked with the coach, and they were fine once I explained it. And then what was especially
quit pulling a Bill Belichick.
What was really ironic is that same coach the next day emailed me and said, "Hey, can you send me your film?" And it was just kind of funny. I was like, irony. But Grayson County did not play well whatsoever. It just was, they lost 34-29. Seneca had the ball with about a minute 45 left. Grayson was winning 29-28. They had it 4th down and 12. Their quarterback was scrambling in his own end zone, threw a dump off pass. The running back, I don't know what Grayson County's tackling was doing. It looked like if you and I got out there trying to tackle, Leroy, it just did not look good at all. And then they threw a 75-yard touchdown the next play, ended up losing. But what you mentioned, press boxes.
Yes.
And so in this press box, it was 2 levels. So the upstairs level was our camera, and then the other team's coaches. Our coaches, for some reason, decided to stand in the stands, which was fine. I don't know. Whatever. But in our level, it was us and then their PA guy, who's a super nice guy. He probably was my age, maybe not that much older, super chill dude. But in the 3rd or the 4th quarter, a guy comes up into the press box, and Leroy, I don't think he was all there.
Okay.
But he starts trying to broadcast the game. I think he was sitting underneath me, and he heard us broadcasting. So he starts, and I don't think he was making fun of us. I just think he was trying to, he heard that Grayson County had this. So he was trying to do it for Seneca. But there would be moments where he would, in the middle, and this is like 4th quarter, 2-minute drive. Grayson County's driving down the field to try and score a touchdown. He would come over to me and tap me on the shoulder as if for me to tell him what this player's name is. And I just had to completely ignore this guy because it's the end of the game. It's a close game, and it was an experience. And it was funny because as we were packing up, he was talking to me, and their AD goes, "Larry, they need to leave," or something, like Larry was his name or something. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So clearly Larry, I guess, is just a wanderer. I don't really know who Larry is, but, and then he was on the field, running routes after the game. Larry's probably 60.
Larry wants to be a football player.
He does, and it was an experience. So that was our trip to football, and I think I might have it off my chest later, Leroy. I haven't had one in a while. You had one last week, week before.
I did. I did.
So I felt like it's time for me to pull one out. But
I vented pretty good over this blackout BS.
I'm gonna wait until later to bring that out. I might need to finish my.
But my boss messaged me because Taylorville is 4-4 right now. 6 wins gets you in the playoffs. 5 in a good conference like ours will also most likely get you in. There's just not enough teams that will win 6 games that will be in. My boss messages me and he goes, so Taylorville messages my general manager and says, what teams are in the playoffs? So we message and say all 3 of the teams that we cover are in the playoffs. And he goes, no, they're not. No, they are. Taylorville's got a forfeit this week. They're in. No, they're 4-4. There's no way they make the playoffs. What part of forfeit don't you understand? They will be 5-4. They will get in. Oh, my mistake.
That's funny.
What?
That's
Are you
funny.
questioning the broadcaster like I don't know their record?
You don't know it. Yeah, what are you talking about? The other big news of the week is that the World Series has finally been finalized. Everyone's favorite Dodgers versus Yankees. Now, my boss is a Yankees fan. And so I've had to hear it all week and from him. And as I'm like, listen, I've not talked crap to you at all because if I remember correctly, I think the Reds swept the Dodgers, swept the Yankees. But what do I know? So I guess, therefore, if the Yankees win, the Reds are actually the World Series champions. That's how it works, right?
Correct. Absolutely correct.
That's how it actually works. But Leroy, I sent you a message yesterday, day before, 3 weeks ago, 10 months ago. I don't really remember. The days run together when you're old. But I asked you, and I've seen this conversation. It was funny because I asked you this question, and then I read an article on The Athletic about 3 or 4 hours later that evening asking the same question. Now, I'm interested in Paul. I get John. I mean, you can give your opinion, but I know you're not a baseball guy, so I don't really know that you have an opinion. Is this matchup good or bad for baseball? Yankees, Dodgers. Is it good or bad for baseball? And Leroy, you said in your message that you can play whatever side you need to do, but I want to know your honest opinion. Is it good or bad for baseball?
Yeah, I mean, listen. Between us, I can give pros and cons to this all day long. But overall, I don't think this is good for baseball. You have the top 2 teams in payroll make it. You have the top 2 teams that spend all the money that makes it to the World Series. I mean, that's the equivalent of Cowboys Chiefs World Series or something, or Super Bowl or something like that.
Cowboys Chiefs the World Series would be entertaining. Patrick Mahomes is a former baseball player.
But you know what I'm saying, or you're seeing New England Dallas for the 8th time. You know, nobody wants to see that Super Bowl. Nobody does. And the thing is you know, you look at it and the media is going to eat this up, right? Judge versus Ohtani, the high power of the West Coast versus the, you know, pitching of the East, you know, that those kind of matchups. But at the end of the day, the average fan is not going to care. I saw a meme that said Cowboys fans are going to have a hard time picking which baseball team they're going to root for. And but it does bring a little bit of truth to that. You get a lot of bandwagoners with the Yankees and the Dodgers. That you just do. And I don't necessarily think for the average person who likes baseball that this is going to be a World Series that they're going to be extra excited for. I worry about that.
I think Paul John actually made the point here. You know, it's good in general, but bad for the diehards. But then that kind of leads me to the second portion of this question of, is that actually good then? Because the diehards of diehards are probably going to watch regardless of what the opponents are, because they love the game of baseball and so on. Now, it might turn off some of them. Like me, I don't know that I'll watch any of this because I just can't.
Short of what pops up on my Facebook,
yeah,
is what I'm going to watch. But I'll be rooting for the Yankees. I'm telling you, and that takes
I'll be the exact opposite. I'll be all in on the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Rooting for the Dodgers. I can't cheer for the Yankees. That first baseman's a piece of
But
garbage.
I say all that to say, like there's a lot of people that hate on the Yankees. I was never that guy that hated on the Yankees. They're not in our they're not in our league. We don't play them on a regular basis. I never had a whole lot of hatred for the Yankees. But like the Dodgers, the Giants, absolutely. I'm just not a big fan of it. And I'd like to see your best friend win another World Series.
Yeah, and see, that's one of the main reasons why I'm not cheering for them, because he's a piece of garbage. And it was interesting though, and I think it was yesterday, but I ended up watching it today while I was eating my lunch. Joey Votto was on Dan Patrick.
Yeah,
and for one, and you know how if you've watched this podcast once, you know how I feel about Joey Votto. He's just fascinating to talk to. And Dan Patrick has a really good interview style with Votto. It works really well. And like one of the first questions they asked him, this is unrelated, but asked him pretty much of like, would he have been a better hitter if he would have started today versus when he did? And it was just a really interesting discussion based on
when
Votto.
was his rookie year?
07? I think was what it was. And then he also asked him, what's the difference between 102 and 96? And I was really waiting for Votto to be 6 miles per hour. But Votto's answer was really interesting with that. But they followed up with saying, like, pretty much, is this good for baseball? And Votto said, absolutely it is. Because he said 4 of the 6 best players in baseball are playing in this World Series.
And that's the big question is, will baseball players be watching this World Series? That's the big question that needs to be asked is a guy like Kyle Schwarber, is he going to watch this World Series? That's the question that needs to be asked.
Because you look at it this way. Best player in baseball right now is Shohei Ohtani. I don't think there's any argument. Right?
Right.
None. Second best player in baseball, probably Aaron Judge.
Yep.
Third best, Juan Soto. I mean, you could make that argument. You could make that argument. And is the question, is Mookie in the top 6? And I really wish Dan Patrick would have followed up with Votto and been like, okay, who are the 2 that are not in, like, you said 4 of the 6. Like, who are the 2 that you want in the top 6? But Votto made a really good point. And honestly, it's, if you have 18 free minutes on lunch or something, I recommend it. I watched it on YouTube just because Votto's such an interesting guy talking about, he's so analytic and thought-provoking with how he talks about baseball and hitting. He tells a really good story about Mariano Rivera. And then he also talks about the differences between playing in Yankee Stadium and playing at Dodger Stadium. And how he said Dodger Stadium is the perfect ballpark. Because everything's pretty much the same size. The lighting is great. But Yankee Stadium, he said, which I found interesting, has the best batter's eye in baseball. Which is just, those are things that like...
Which place do you like playing the best in on the show?
I haven't played both. I haven't played enough show to really have an answer on that. To play consistently. Do you have an answer?
Honestly, probably. You know where I Detroit.
Oh, I thought we were talking L.A. versus New York.
No, I just meant in general. Like, do you like if you had a favorite place?
I always love Houston, especially when they used to have the Hill. I think it was a lot more fun that way. But okay, who wins World Series?
Yankees in 6.
Dodgers in 7. Dodgers 7. Votto did say that he thinks that the difference is home field advantage. Like, he really does think that home field advantage will be the difference. So who's the MVP? I'm gonna say Mookie, just because Shohei's the cop out. Like,
yeah.
Paul says Dodgers in 7.
Freddie
Freeman is top 10. 3 years ago, absolutely. He's probably like 10 to 15. I don't know. Maybe I've never sat down and like made the list. But who's the World Series MVP?
I'll go with Ohtani. By the way,
wait, you're picking the Yankees, but Ohtani will be the MVP?
Mm-hmm.
Has that happened in baseball?
Does it happen? I'll go with Soto then, I guess.
Now I'm interested in, because I know it has happened in sports. Losing team World Series MVP. Has that ever happened? Okay, so the World Series MVP has been given out since 1955, and it has happened once.
Yeah, it's not going to happen this year.
1960 was the only time it has happened. I like Will Smith.
Yeah, I'll go with Soto. By the way, the guy that you hate batted .412 with 2 broken bones in his hand.
Broken bones in his hand. I'd go out there and I'd hit 600 with 2 broken bones in my hand.
You're so ridiculous.
Do you know that guy hates kids? It's just a fact.
No, he doesn't.
He does. He does. He hates children. It's. I honestly think it's a little weird, his hatred of. I don't know. That's it. But I just hope it's at least. I know Votto said he hopes it is 6 or 7 games and hopes it doesn't go 4 or 5 because baseball needs as much exposure as they possibly can, especially in the heat of NFL, which has been rolling. Paul says you wouldn't touch 600 balls thrown in a row. Okay, there you go, Libra. Okay, let's just say average MLB starting pitcher.
Okay.
600, and we'll even just say fastballs. Or let's say fastball, and then they'll mix in a 2-seam and a changeup. You get 600 straight thrown. How many of those are you hitting in play, and how many of them are you making contact?
I'll make contact with 2.
Oh, see, I think you
think I do better than that?
I mean, contact to me is even a foul tip. I was going to say I'd make contact with 10. Maybe 1. I roll it to the third baseman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, listen, the last time I played actual competitive baseball was about 6 years ago.
Oh, gosh, it's been longer than that for me.
So, I mean, 600 pitches. Yeah, I could probably get 5, maybe 5-10.
Now, what about against Garrett Cole?
Oh, see? But no, because he's going to mix it all up, and I'm just going to look like an idiot the whole time.
I would love to watch that. It's
like when the little
Kershaw.
It's like when the little kid runs the quarterback routes against the wide. I'll just end up on my butt. That's how this works.
I want you to go against prime Kershaw, because then that's lefty on lefty.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd both be just toast.
If you want to watch a good at-bat, go watch Nolan Ryan's 5,000 strikeout against Ricky Henderson. So Nolan Ryan struck out Ricky. Ricky was number 5,000. Ricky said after the game, he goes, if you haven't struck out to Nolan Ryan, then you're nobody. And it was an amazing sequence. It was an amazing at-bat because Nolan set him up outside, then came back in and was constantly moving left, right, and finally Ricky had enough, and he fouled off a couple pitches, and Nolan dropped a curveball in there, and you just see Ricky's eyes just go, because he knew it.
Respect.
Yeah.
Is a lot of it. You mentioned, too, when we were talking earlier this week about NFL quarterbacks.
Yes, I did. The question that I had, and I wanted to get the group's discussion on this a little bit tonight, and maybe this is a topic that we set up more for this summer when we really have some downtime to talk about it, but I would like to talk about it a little bit tonight.
We got a while until summer.
I know. That's why I want to talk a little bit about it tonight. Quarterbacks of today. We talk about, great quarterbacks that we have today. Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff,
Mahomes?
Mahomes, my
You,
brain. I'm not good tonight.
you're
I'm sorry.
mentioning Jared Goff
Hey,
before Patrick Mahomes
Mahomes has like 8
and
interceptions
Joe
this
Burrow.
year. But regardless, we talk about great quarterbacks that are playing right now.
Caleb Williams?
I didn't say his name. Talk
Sorry,
about
I was just reading what Paul's comment said.
okay. And we talk about 90s quarterbacks, 90s and early 2000s. So Tom Brady, no, I'm just kidding. Troy Aikman, Jim Kelly, Dan Marino,
Favre?
Brett Favre, guys like that. Are quarterbacks better now than what they were in the 90s and early 2000s? And I feel like there's more household name quarterbacks now than what there were then. Or are they just more protected with flags and rules that it looks like they're better?
Yes.
And that's the question that I have. We talk about mobile quarterbacks, right? There was maybe, up until Cam Newton, there really wasn't a quarterback that was, mobile. Yeah, Michael Vick, you could probably throw in Michael Vick's name in that discussion as far as being a mobile quarterback, but Michael and Cam were really the beginning guys as far as just being able to threaten to run for a first down. Up until that point, it was really just pocket passer quarterbacks. So I do ask the question about, are they getting more athletic? Are they getting better? Are they getting,
Yes.
Because it really feels like there's a lot more star power. I mean, I can post a list of the top 10 quarterbacks right now. You can post a list, and everybody in this group can post a list, and it would all be different.
Yeah, I mean, the answer to your question is yes to both. Like, they are more protected, but they are a lot better. I mean, they are a lot better. Like the question is for some of these guys, would they be starting quarterbacks and what tier would they be? Like Aikman. You look at Aikman's stats, they're not like mind-boggling by any stretch. Like, how successful would he have been of an NFL quarterback in today's game?
But that's my argument about Emmitt Smith, is that Walter Payton was a much better running back because Emmitt Smith had a great line in front of him. Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders is probably the best. Listen, he's incredible.
That's cute, but yeah.
Barry Sanders was incredible. Incredible running back. And then Chase Brown's probably second.
Yeah, Chase is up there.
You're welcome. I told you you should have started him.
I do.
He's at least got something.
I've got one loss in fantasy this year.
I was waiting for how long it would take. Don't you talk bad about Emmitt Smith. I was waiting for it from Paul. But yeah, I think the answer to your question is it's a little bit of both, but I think the game is better because and also players are just more athletic in general. That's just fact. It's like basketball today. Like if you took this team, the Olympic team this year, I think would beat the Dream Team just because they're more athletic.
Yeah.
And it's just like these best teams, like these Chiefs teams or some, there it comes. Are just so much better than what they were 20 years ago. And I
saw a Babe Ruth playing today, would get destroyed comment or a post had over 198 comments underneath it of saying, sure, if I brought in primetime Babe Ruth or prime Babe Ruth right now and put him in the batter's box, yes. But if I gave Babe Ruth today's technology, today's, training regimen, today's coaching, today's,
cigarettes,
staff, things like that, I don't know if Babe Ruth would be outmatched. Pitching, maybe. But hitting? Absolutely not. I think if he had today's stuff, he'd still be, because you can't take away that talent. That talent just doesn't disappear.
But it was a completely different game.
Right.
Yeah, and
you're saying with today's training, Babe Ruth would suck.
I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that question. Babe Ruth never saw a 100-mile-per-hour fastball that moves. I think Paul here is absolutely correct. He would not be as good. Now, would he have 300 home runs? Would he have 150? Would he have 600? Would he have never even make it to the majors? That I don't know. But I think it's an interesting discussion to have for sure. And that's why I asked it to you in a play clock, maybe 2 months ago?
Yeah.
And I don't know the answer to it. But I think Paul's right. I don't think he would be as good. How good? We'll never know. Do you have any tidbits?
I do. Fernando Valenzuela passed away a couple days ago. Right? Monday?
Last night.
Yesterday?
Yes, last night. Would he strike out as much as Javier Baez? Probably not.
Baez plays for the Tigers. I don't care.
Didn't they send him down? Or what did they do to him?
They won after they sent him down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they sent him down, and then all of a sudden the Tigers strung out 18 out of 20 wins in a row or something crazy. But I want to talk about Valenzuela because, and Sam, I know you're too young to know, how good Valenzuela was.
I mean, I've heard stories and all that. But
Valenzuela threw a screwball, and it was a good screwball. It was a good screwball. In fact, Jeff Passan posted the very first 8 games that Valenzuela pitched as a member of the Dodgers. You've got to see some of these numbers. So all 8 games were complete games. All 8. All 8, he pitched 9 innings. Game 1, 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Game 2, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. Game 3, 5 hits, 10 strikeouts. Game 4, 7 hits, 3 walks, 11 strikeouts. Game 5, 7 hits, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts. And it just goes on. More of the same. His game 8 was the worst. 9 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, and he gave up 2 home runs. In that time, in 8 games, Fernando Valenzuela was 8-0 on May 14th. Which is just mind-blowing that he was 8-0 already on May 14th in a win against the Dodgers. Now, he didn't really do that. He had a really big fall off after those 8 games. I think he finished 13-11 on the season for his rookie year. But for about a month and a half, there was nobody better than that guy right there. And to have such a dominant stretch, it reminds me of that stretch where Jake Arrieta was really, really good, where nobody could touch him. But for a month and a half, Fernando Valenzuela was one of the greatest pitchers at the time. So big guy to lose, and of course, right before their World Series. But yeah, Valenzuela, fantastic pitcher. Oregon State, Washington State are going to play each other twice next year.
Saw that home and home.
They are doing that because they're a team without a conference, so to speak. I mean, yeah, they do, but they're waiting for the Pac-12 to. Yeah, they're waiting for the Pac-12 to rebuild, and so they're going to play each other. They're going to play each other twice next year. A former Jets head coach is now with the Green Bay Packers in some capacity. They haven't said what
just watching practice.
No, they have signed him. According to ESPN,
Robert Saleh?
Saleh has been signed to work with the offense as a defensive-minded coach. He is... What did they say? He joins Matt LaFleur in a, quote, fluid role, and the Packers will not say what his role is other than just staff. By the way, he's making $13 every minute for not having a real job.
That must be nice.
I wish I could make $13 a minute for not doing anything. Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey missed practice today because he had jury duty and wanted to. They said, "Well, Brandon, you can get out of it," and he goes, "No, it's my civic duty. I'll go ahead and do it." He doesn't have to be sequestered, so he will play this Sunday. But even the NFL gets jury duty sometimes.
I got it a couple of years ago.
NASCAR announced today that Bobby Allison actually has another win to his total. They gave him a win from a 1971 race that apparently there were two types of vehicles. What I understand, there were two types of vehicles that were running in it, and he won, but it didn't count as a NASCAR race. Well, they've changed it now, which moves him fourth all-time on the most wins in NASCAR, which means that in 50 years from now, they're going to give Jeremy Mayfield a couple more wins. I'm telling you, it's coming.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Let's see what else. LeBron James and Bronny made their debut last night. They were flanked by Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr., who I'm sorry, I still believe is the better father-son duo. Just because minor league baseball.
There's no question about that, but it's still cool. Say what you want about LeBron, it was cool, and I think you shared the Nike commercial.
I did because I love that commercial.
It was funny. It was funny.
And you know me, I'm not a LeBron James fan, but man, I was laughing pretty good at that one yesterday. But a really cool moment for those two, and hope Bronny stays in the league for a whole 6 minutes this year. Let's see what else. The Liberty won the WNBA championship, and the WNBA promptly said, "Hey, we want more money, so we're not going to play until you pay us more."
Checks out.
Meanwhile, all of the NBA goes, "All right," and otherwise than that is I'm sure I have more, but I was kind of running by the seat of my pants today, so that's the tidbits you get for today.
So that means it's time to cue the music. Last week, Paul Reed did not show up in time. And right, honestly, I think it is the truth that Paul, has been our most loyal listener over these last, and we appreciate Paul without question for that. But in the last year and a half or so, Paul has missed, I think, like 2 shows. And I know Paul popped in last time. And in those 2 shows, Leroy has gone perfect on Leroy's logos both times. The other, let me pull it up here as I'm talking. The other,
which means I go 0 for 4 today.
The other 73 episodes, Leroy has never gone 4 for 4. So, AKA, Paul Reeves just makes him nervous. There's something with that, as it is episode 76 of Leroy's Logos Today. After a 4 for 4 week last week, Leroy, 412. 412 is what you're hitting. So I ask you, would you like door number 1? Paul's gonna leave. No, don't leave, Paul. I don't want him to get 4 out. I don't want him to get 4 out of 4. That's not as fun for me.
I need help.
1, 2, 3, or 4.
3.
He'll go with 3.
Oh, you're so generic.
One of these is mean. I will say that.
One of these is mean?
One of them is mean.
Great.
The rest, though, I think you should be able to get. This is door number 3 of AI edition of Leroy's Logos. Again, Leroy, you have 1 sheet or lifeline or whatever you want to call it with it. This one looks decently similar to the actual logo. Anything speaking to you?
No. Arizona?
Arizona is your guess. Final answer?
Yeah.
Final answer, and that is incorrect. Incorrect. Let's see what one of the comments says. John says Wildcat Meow. Would that have helped you?
A lot of help. A lot of
help. This would be the Texas State Bobcats.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Texas State Bobcats, one of the top teams in the Sun Belt this year in football.
Great.
Would you like 1, 2, or 4?
4.
Arizona State is not right. He just said Arizona, Paul, so at least he was in the same. Would you say 4?
4.
4. AI kind of screwed up on this one a little bit. Like, more just, like, the logo is fine. I'm more just like, what happened to its face? Am I right?
The baseball in its mouth?
I thought it was its tongue, but actually you might be right. Like, the eyes are a little far apart.
Yeah.
I don't know. And these are AI generated, not Sam Gormley. Because, let's be real, I can't draw. Paul has a guess in the comment section. Leroy, do you have a guess? And remember, you do have one lifeline should you want to use it at any point.
Yeah, I don't. Not yet. Oh.
Anything speaking to you?
University of Central Florida?
Central Florida, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to tell you now here, I will, since you've locked in your final answers. Paul says Colorado State.
Okay.
John says Colorado State. Paul says could be South Florida.
Yeah, the Bulls from... I just messed up. That's what I did.
And it's South Florida. The South Florida Bulls.
Yeah.
For this. You were right. And
I knew who it was. I just couldn't remember if it was Central or Southern Florida.
That's the one you always seem to forget in Florida. I remember. Because even when the initial one. 1 or 2?
1.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite.
What is that?
It's my favorite. I love when AI tries to do words. Because the words could help you or they could not.
Oh.
There's a lot going on here.
There is so much in this.
You got anything that's coming to mind, though?
Oh, Old Dominion.
Old Dominion. Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Let's look at the comments here to see. Oh, Paul's got a great guess here. Oh, nope. That one.
The Blue Sharks of Book of Liquid. Yeah, absolutely. Lil Dean.
Old Dominion is incorrect. You know what they were trying to spell there?
No, I don't. Bull Dean.
Billikens. St. Louis. They were trying to spell Billiken for you. And they started off strong. They started off really strong. And then
That is trash.
I don't really know what happened the remainder of that. But yes, that is St. Louis, the Billikens. And your final one for Leroy's logo this week.
What is this? Is this a snake? Is this a cat?
I will say this is the one that AI was not very friendly to you this week.
All right, comment section. What do we got?
So I'll be nice.
Of course he is. Every time I get 4 for 4, he always makes it as difficult as possible.
I will say, last time you did get 4 out of 4, you went 1 for your next 12. So
yeah, because you're a dick every time I freaking do well.
I will say that the actual mascot, ignore. There is a part of the mascot that might be giving you the answer.
Yeah, I need whatever comments pop up. That's what I want.
The like maybe a body part that might help you.
A body part? The Tennessee elbows.
No, a body part of this. John says it's Toledo. Paul said it's Ohio.
I see you, Sam.
Just itching my eyebrow. You got a guess?
No, give me 5 seconds.
Okay, you're bouncing like a ball. Do you have... Paul says, what are you saying? The eyebrows. What are you saying? What are the eyebrows?
Like, yeah, Paul, like a letter V or W or U or something.
What are the eyebrows? What are they? What color are they?
Green and white. You know, you know what, I'm just gonna give an off the cuff answer and say Michigan State.
The green wave of Tulane.
Tulane?
Yes, the green wave.
The green wave of Tulane.
Yes.
Yeah, of course it is.
That's an AAC team.
Great. That's not an AAC logo.
The again, this is the one that they were all awful for you on there. Tulane.
Ugh.
Okay. Play clock. Yes, of course that's what you meant, Paul. Or John. Do you believe that's what he meant? Said Toledo instead. Okay. Would you like to ask your answer?
I will answer first.
When you go back to your childhood,
Ugh.
that's your question. Begin.
Well, all started in September of 1982.
What are your nostalgic foods?
So my mom did a lot of like home cooking. We chop suey, things like that. A lot of homemade meals. But probably my favorite nostalgic meal, honestly, and I found out later on as an adult that most people think it's gross, but I loved it. Pork chops in the oven with baked beans, maple syrup covering them up, onions and tomatoes, and it's all put in like a big dish in the oven, and it's cooked, and it's amazing. I love it. It's fantastic.
I'm with Paul. Never heard of that. Interesting.
Yeah, try pork chops with like baked beans and maple syrup.
See, for me,
Amazing.
The two nostalgic foods that come to mind for me are Vienna sausages and cottage cheese. Those would be two things we'd always eat with when my grandma would come and visit us. She would bring that. Those would be like the two things, and mandarin oranges. Those were like the three things that she would bring, and then she would rotate what the actual like meal was. But those are the three consistents. So I still will occasionally eat those as a nostalgic food. And that's what made me... I was eating some cottage cheese with my lunch the other day, and that got me to thinking about nostalgic foods and so on. Okay, I'm ready.
Well, we're talking about being kids.
Oh,
none of our parents are watching this, so I'm going to ask you.
I hope not.
What's the biggest thing that you got away with as a kid?
Nice try, Mom. Oh, look, time's up. I don't know that I necessarily have an answer because my mom, there was nothing I could get away with my mom. Like, in all seriousness, like, I don't know that there was much that I really could have. At least nothing is immediately coming to mind that I can think of that I actually, like, legitimately got away with. Like, because she was on top of everything and so on. She was a stricter parent and so on. She probably admit that. That was like your dad. She was a principal administrator in school. So because of that, she was on top of it all. So really, I'm not sure that I can necessarily have an answer to that. Yeah. I don't know, at least. I know that's a little disappointing of an answer, but I don't really have one. Leroy, would you survive a zombie? Would you survive a zombie apocalypse, and how long would you last?
What do I mean,
Like I'm saying, like, let's say right now, like you are sitting here on this podcast right now, a zombie apocalypse happens. How long are you surviving, and what is your plan?
I could survive for a couple of weeks. Because I'd head downtown to the police station and get myself a weapon. And yeah, I'm a pretty good shot. I'd survive for a couple of weeks before I'd die. But yeah, I mean, really, honestly, I think the biggest plan if there was a zombie attack is just to do your best to try to head out west to where there's a lot of open field and a lot of like open nothingness. I would drive. I would get on the road. I would go to the police station, see if I could scrounge up a weapon, and then I would leave and head out west, and just see if I can find some open field out in like Montana or something.
You see, I don't even know what my plan would be. I feel like I'd be a hunker down.
Yeah,
and just hope nobody found me, and so on. Thomas's World Series will be fun. 2 teams, a lot of good hitting. Absolutely, I do completely agree with his comment. It is going to be a lot of really good hitting for that. And Paul says you'd run out of gas really quick. Now, and I do appreciate you saying. I said if it would start right now, your daughter and wife are they in St. Louis? Is that where they are tonight?
Yep.
You wouldn't go rescue them?
Nope.
Wow.
I got my other 2 kids sleeping. I'll grab them.
What about the dog?
No.
Cat?
Nope.
Wow. What about your parents? How long would they last?
Dad would last a while because Dad would just throw out like political and religious sentiments, and that would scare him all away. So,
or would that make him an earlier target?
Wow, that might be the case too.
I feel like your mom would be, because I mean, your mom's a saint.
Yeah.
Like who could want to hurt her? Okay, I'm ready for my last question.
Simple question: what age is too old to trick or treat?
There's no age that's too old to trick or treat. I mean, listen, like, and I remember I had this conversation with my mom, and my mom's pretty much the same way. It's like, listen, as long as you're wearing a costume, go for it. Now, if you are maybe it's a little weird for you, Leroy. Maybe.
No, that's not what you said. I got my Deadpool costume right here. I'm excited.
But like, I think if as 18, I mean, listen, like, is 17-year-old a little weird to be going around trick-or-treating? But absolutely, like, as long as you're wearing a costume, who cares?
I'd help them, Paul.
If they were chasing you and your parents were with you,
I'd probably sacrifice myself for them, honestly.
16 max, says Paul. So, like, do you get trick-or-treaters where you are?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, we get slammed. Oh, you live in a weird part of... Live on that off-road, don't you?
No, I mean, I live in a small town. I have a little neighborhood and so on that I live in. So I was sitting here today in my house, and since it was a nice day, I had my screen door open. And I'm sitting here, and I was working on editing a video. And all of a sudden, I hear, what, bam! And I'm like, the hell just happened? It sounded like somebody had either hit my car, which is parked right outside my door, or had, like, it sounded like somebody had pulled out of my street, and it was right at when school was letting out, and a semi had T-boned them. And I thought, oh crap, like this isn't good. And luckily it was just like your typical rear ending. But it was more just one of those things that, like, my neighbor was outside. I think he was smoking, and he was like, everybody okay? And luckily when I saw him, I was like, okay, good. I don't have to go be the are you okay guy. But it was just literally, it was so loud that I thought somebody had hit my car. So I ran out there and did like the frantic, like, or somebody had gotten hit and was seriously injured.
Yeah.
And I was like, great. Like, the news comes to us. Do you have your game or no? This week? No, like your logo game or your driver's game or anything?
Next week.
Okay.
It's back next week.
Do we want to do picks, or do we want to do my off my chest now then?
You off your chest.
Okay. Leroy and I messaged about this over the weekend, but you know what? It's just friends talking right now, right? And I don't want this to turn into the whole like, oh, you're not like to where people feel like they need to like compliment me or anything like that. Like I don't need to that at all.
You don't need praise.
No, I don't. Like when it comes to this aspect, because I'm honestly I'm fine. But Saturday I did a college game, did center, got home that evening, and so that had been my second game, football game in the period of 24 hours. So as you can imagine, I'm tired. I sit down and I get a Facebook message from a parent on the Grayson County football team. And honestly, Leroy, you read the message. It wasn't a very nice message.
It was not.
And it like I'll be honest, it kind of pissed me off. Because what it said pretty much is it's like you all mess up a lot. And apparently, and honestly, Leroy, I don't know that I did miss it. And if I did, I might have. His son had a sack in our football game on Friday, and apparently I missed it, and I miss everything.
That's because you're only focused on the quarterback and the wide receivers,
yes,
and you ignore everybody else.
Pretty much is what he had said. And I typed up a response, and I asked you, Leroy, I said, can I send it? And you said, no, you probably shouldn't. And I was like, oh, you're probably right. But what's funny is that he had friended me on Facebook before he sent this message. And I was like, I am not going to accept your friend request if you're going to talk crap about that. But what I wanted to say with that, Leroy, is it's like, we will both fully admit that is our job hard? No. Like we're not a doctor. Like the guy who did your shoulder surgery, is his job hard? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. His job is hard.
Yes.
Like absolutely. You know, is a nurse, is a teacher, is their job hard? Yeah, absolutely. Like there's a reason why we're broadcasters and not surgeons. But like, is our job harder than it looks? And the answer is yes.
And I would argue that there are certain aspects of our job that are very hard.
Yeah, and there are, without question. Now, is it harder than being a surgeon? No. Like I'll never try to say that and come off of being that way. But the whole like you all miss everything, for one, is just factually incorrect. And that was like, I'm fine with even somebody coming to me and being like, you're not very good. I'm like, okay, fine. You can have that opinion. I don't really care. And I don't need somebody to tell me, oh no, you're actually really good. Like, I don't care. My opinion of myself is the one that matters the most. And I kind of know where I stand when it comes to that.
Right.
But like the whole message of, and it's the second time that this has happened from a parent since I've been here. And the other time was a similar message where I had missed something or I think that time I had accidentally called him the wrong. No, like he was number 53 and I said it was number 56 that made the tackle, which honestly, Leroy, that's just an honest mistake. Like, or it was 58 and 56 or something. I just mixed those two numbers up, which happens.
Those jerseys get scrunched up and sometimes it's hard to see, man. And
I think what people don't understand is that when you're watching a game on NFL or college, high level college, especially, they have somebody that's called a spotter. So what they have is they have somebody whose job is to have binoculars out and to
hold
watch
a paper.
Yeah.
And they point.
Yeah, they point and they say it's number 16. And they'll point to number 16 and say, okay, that's who the tackle was made.
Yep.
Or so on. We don't have that liberty when it comes to this. So your spotter, you're looking at him.
It's you.
I am the one trying to spot it while also trying to call the play and so on. And again,
it's even worse when you're by yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just like the message. And honestly, if he's watching right now, and he's not, but if you are, like, your son's a great player. You doing that makes you come off like a jackass. And it also, and I'm not this type of person where I'm not going to want to cheer for his son or do extra things for his son, like, for that. But, like, it does, like, I'm not going to forget that. That if it ever comes a time where his son might need, like, something and I might have to go out of my way to help him out, I might be a little less likely to do that. And that, I hate that it comes to that. And again, like I said, he meant it as dad, and he was trying to, like, probably protect his son or, you know, whatever it was when it comes to that. But, like, I might even talk to the football coach about that and just say, hey, like, is this guy an a-hole, or is he, maybe he just was having a bad day. And he just needed somebody to take it out on, and I was the easiest target and whatever. And in all seriousness, it ticked me off then. I'm not necessarily annoyed about it anymore. I'm going to forget about it. But it's not nice to see a message that pretty much says, hey, you suck.
It takes about 5 to 6 seconds to look down at your roster to make sure that you've got a name correct if you don't remember who a player is. It takes about 6 seconds. 6 seconds in a football game may not seem like a long time, but there is so much that goes on in that 6 seconds you might miss. I can't tell you the number of late flags that come in that I might miss because I've got my head down, or I'm trying to get everything set up for the next play, or writing a stat, or doing circling something, and the game moves really, really quick, and that's football. When we start getting into basketball and we start getting into I know you don't call it, I don't call it, but hockey's another sport that's the same way. These sports are quick. Basketball, high school boys basketball, that is insanely fast, and you might not catch everything. It sucks sometimes. No,
I mean, and in football, like, I admit that I don't catch every tackle. I don't. And it was funny. Like, there was a moment a couple of weeks ago during a game where there's one kid. So what happens is every Friday, I record our pregame coaches interview at about 1:45 at the school. And that's when the team comes down to the locker room, because they usually during the week have like a weightlifting class, like their last class of the day or something like that. So they're waiting outside the locker room, and I'm waiting as well with them for the coach to get there, for them to chill before the game and me to talk with him.
Yeah.
But one kid always comes up and talks to me, and he usually always religiously goes back and watches the game. And he told me there was a moment that I missed one of his tackles, and he said it very like, oh, you like very joking in saying it, and I told him, yeah. And then the next game, I admit that I missed him, and I said it on air because I said that the tackle was made by number 4, and it was actually he's 42. And as soon as he turned around, I said, oh no, it was made by Camden Cornwell instead. And I said, oh, he's probably going to give me crap about that next time I see him, and he did. And I'm fine with that. Like, listen, I get it. I make a mistake and so on when it comes to that, but it was just like the message is not necessary. And that's kind of
people are listening to you, though.
It does. And the long story short around this, Leroy, is, and this goes for really just life in general, is always remember there's somebody else on the other side of a message or a phone call that you make, especially for something like this. Like, is that a big deal that I missed him? Not really.
No,
it's not. Is it disappointing? Sure. I get that. I understand
it. It doesn't take away from the fact that he's in the stat book.
He is. And it is a college coach that's watching going to be like, well, poor kid. I'm not going to say his name.
No, because the college coach is not drafting you.
No. But, okay. That's the end of my rant. That's off my chest for this week. And I just needed to rant about it somewhere. And if you're watching, sir, I'll accept your apology. Because I will.
Walk of shame.
Yes.
Ooh. I'm going to come to your job and criticize you.
Yeah, and I literally wanted to respond to him, and I almost wish I would have. That anytime you want to come take the mic, by all means, help yourself out. Pick contest time. Again, the totals from the pick contest for the season. I am winning 48. Leroy has 40. America has 39. There is no Taylorville game this week, so America, you will pick the Coug game.
That's because Taylorville already won.
And we're not giving free points out for that. So I guess I just have to miss the point this week that I don't. So how about that? You get a free point this week. So
cool.
Grayson County at 6-2 hosts Breckenridge County at 3.
Do they go against you or do you go against them, Paul?
That is true. Host Breckenridge County at 3-5. The Rough River rivalry is on Friday night. Leroy, you got the Cougs, you got the Fighting Tigers.
Cougs get back on top. Let's go.
Leroy is picking the Cougs. America, you are picking this game as well. So Grayson County hosting Breckenridge County. John's taking the Cougs. Paul just says he's better than America. That's not the pick, Paul.
That's blatantly untrue.
Wow. And Paul is taking the Cougs as well. And y'all are both right. long story short, there was some stuff said after this last time these two teams played from the other side, and Grayson might try to win by like 80. Like, if he gets the chance, he might literally, like, I had to look up the record for most points scored in a game because I think it might come into play. No Taylorville game this week, so Leroy, Kentucky hosts Auburn.
You guys keep letting me down. I'm going to go with Auburn. You all keep letting me down.
62, Paul. 62 points is the record for most points in a game. Scored in 2009. I'm going to take Auburn. John's taking Auburn as well. Paul, if you're well, it doesn't matter. Paul, if he takes Kentucky, then it goes to us because we all said Auburn as well. So Auburn is America's pick of the week. Northwestern against Iowa.
Yuck.
What an awful,
yuck.
I'm going to take Iowa.
I sent Sam an interesting stat. Northwestern versus Wisconsin since I think 85 isn't that what that said, Sam? The thing
Something
that I
like
said,
that, yeah.
like 85, that Wisconsin has been favored every year other than one, but their record in that time is 17-17. So, like, despite being favored for like all of those games, they only won like half of them. I just thought that was a crazy stat. But regardless, I say all that to say Iowa's going to win.
It is at Iowa.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Iowa.
No chance. We don't have an offense. We don't have an offense, right? We're so beat up. We don't have an offense right now.
You know, it's bad when you're saying you don't have an offense and you're going up against Iowa.
Yes.
Like that's as if to say Iowa is the offensive powerhouse. And listen, I don't have any room to talk when it comes to offense as a Kentucky fan. 1 week from tonight, Western Kentucky will host Kennesaw State, who just upset Liberty tonight.
How did that happen?
Big win for them. So Western Kentucky will host Kennesaw State. Their nickname, Leroy, is?
The Generals?
No. Ooh. Owls. They are the Owls. So it is your turn to pick this game first, Leroy.
Tops.
Yeah, we're both rolling with the tops. Paul, does that mean you're picking Kennesaw State to upset the Tops at home? He's taking Kennesaw.
Yeah, boy.
Good for it. And unless John wants to step in and overrule, which would then make the pick go to WKU. And he might. It means I have to pick this game first. Bengals against the Eagles at Paycor Stadium on Sunday. It's the whiteout game. John's picking WKU, so it's been overruled.
I really need you guys to win this game.
So last year, Leroy, we made a deal that I predicted one game that I predicted a tie in a game, if you remember that. And I think you made the deal. You made the deal that if I correctly predicted tie, I think it was 3 points, right?
Correct. And I'll give you that. I'll give you that again this year.
And I'm doing it right now. I'm predicting a tie between the Bengals and the Eagles on Sunday at Paycor Stadium.
I love you.
Because the Bengals and Eagles, the overall record is 9-3-2.
Who needs this win more?
Yes. It's a big game for both teams. Who do you got, though?
Where's it at?
Paycor. Eagles have never won in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'll go with Bengals.
Leroy is taking the Bengals. America, who you got? And while America makes their picks, no one asked you, Paul. Oh, so I guess this is then a coin flip because Bengals and tie goes to a coin flip. So I guess we'll do this. We'll do Bengals heads, Eagles tails.
Yep.
Alexa, flip a coin. Tails was what she said. So that's Eagles.
Oh.
So America's going. So we have first time, I think, in the history of From the Press Box, all three different picks. You didn't think it was possible, but it comes. For some reason, this next game took over the Bengals-Eagles spot at 425. Bears at the Commanders.
No reason. You know why it took over? Because people actually care about rookie quarterbacks.
And then one of the rookie
quarterbacks, one of which will not be playing.
I'm sure CBS is like, gosh, dang it. Like, Eagles and Bengals are both kind of playing a little bit better now. Bears at the Commanders, Leroy. Who wins?
I'm going to take the Commanders because I really want a Bears win. And either way, I'll be happy.
I'm going to take the Bears. No Jaden Daniels makes me pick.
Yeah, now between us, I don't think the Commanders have enough weapons, but Mariota played great against Carolina. So maybe he's got. Oh
man, he played good against Carolina.
Maybe he's got something, but the Bears play honestly. Historically, I see that. Historically, the Bears play the Redskins / Commanders really, really well. They've always played them. I think I'd have to go back and look at their overall record of the last 10, 15 years. But the Bears play Commanders pretty good.
Okay, so John is picking the Commanders. Paul is picking the Bears. We're also split, so that means we got to go back to my ALEX. Oh, wait. No, he's switching it to the Bears. Switching it to the Bears. Yes, he is out, so no need for that. My first game of the week, we're going to go to everyone's favorite state, Leroy. Kansas travels to Kansas State.
How is that your favorite state?
It's everyone's favorite state, right? Dorothy.
There's nothing in Kansas other than high toll roads, apparently.
And tornadoes.
That's true.
And the Chiefs, right?
I'll go with State.
Leroy's taking Kansas State. And yes, I know, that was a joke. I'm going to take Kansas State as well in the rivalry game. John is picking Korn. The band? But that's not spelled right. Because isn't Korn the band with a K?
Yes.
Are you a Korn fan?
I am.
You are. Yeah. Korn or Alice in Chains?
Alice in Chains. By a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
The Beatles or Alice in Chains?
If you ask me Alice in Chains and Nirvana, then I'd have to sit there and actually
Stone Temple Pilots or Alice in Chains?
Yeah, Alice in Chains.
Really? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Paul likes Korn but hates Korn. That seems a little weird.
Yeah, okay, John. Sure thing.
So John's taking Kansas. Paul, do you have a pick for this one? The game is in Manhattan, Kansas, not New York. Although it would be hilarious if they went to New York to play this game. Kansas and Kansas. Do you have your first game of the week?
Yeah. The team that can't score 10 points out of Dallas heads to San Francisco to go beat up on the really, really injured San Francisco 49ers.
Paul's taking Kansas State. That means it is Kansas State and Kansas. So the tiebreaker is we both pick Kansas State. So Kansas State is America's pick. Cowboys at Niners. Since in San Francisco, I'm going to take the 49ers. Who you got?
49ers are pretty beat up. The Cowboys need a win. I'll regret it and go with Dallas.
Leroy's taking – Paul's taking the Cowboys. Am I going to be the lone wolf on the Niners? Or will John?
John's beat up, man.
John's taking the Niners. That means we got to go to the coin flip for this. I'm going to turn her up so you all can hear it this time. Alexa, volume 8. This is going to be loud. Alexa, okay. So we're going to do Cowboys heads.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Okay. Cowboys heads, Niners tails, right?
No, Niners are the home team, so they should be home.
Okay, so Niners are heads, Cowboys are tails. Okay.
Correct.
Alexa, flip a coin.
Okay. You got tails.
So that's 49ers. So
no, tails, right, is what they said?
Yes, and you said that...
Tails is the away team.
No, you just said the opposite. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Never. I'm losing my Cowboys. So, Cowboys. This game I'm only picking because of the channel it is on, the TV channel. On Saturday night at like 10 o'clock, Leroy.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, not 10 o'clock. It's at 7 o'clock Central Time. They are going to kick off Impractical Jokers. And on True TV, San Jose State travels to Fresno State.
Why?
Because it's on True TV, and that made me laugh.
Okay. Did we pick Fresno last week?
We did.
God dang it, man. And what did they do? What did they do in that game?
They won. Close game. Like 21-20.
I'll go with Fresno.
I will also take Fresno State. Paul's taking Fresno State. John, do you have a pick? It doesn't matter. Fresno State will be the pick for America's Game of the Week. Leroy, your final pick.
Number 12, 6-1 Notre Dame heads to play number 24, 6-0 Navy.
I'm a huge fan of Navy. I think it's by far the best branch of the military, without question. I mean, literally, I think.
I really wish there was a way that I could mute you. There is no way possible. I really wish I could mute you.
See, the best part is I can mute you, but you can't mute me. I mean, Navy, big Navy fan here. Go midshipmen. What is it? Bum bum bum. No, that was Western. Go Notre Dame.
You said go Notre Dame?
Yeah, Notre Dame wins.
After all of that.
Leroy is picking Navy because he loves them.
I will take Navy.
Whoa, he is picking Navy. John is picking the Seamen. Navy?
Really their name, but I'll allow it because it's funny.
So I am in a fantasy, online dynasty for college football, and one of the teams in there is Central University of Maine Seamen. So think about their nicknames. Think about their letters there. Central University of Maine Seamen.
That's right.
The cum
That's
Seamen.
Right. That's good. I like that. That's good.
John's picking them. John's picking Navy. Paul, do you have a pick? Can they both lose? Doesn't work. We're gonna have to, or are we gonna have to go to my ALEXA? We're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. It's coming. It's coming. Maybe not. Paul's taking Notre Dame, so it means we got to go to another coin flip. So what's heads and what's tails, Leroy?
So Navy is the home team. So Navy is heads.
So home is heads. Alexa, flip a coin.
Okay. You got heads.
You heard it?
Heads.
Heads is the pick, which means Navy. So I'm the only one going with Notre Dame there. So Leroy in America is going with Grayson County. We're all going with Auburn. We're all going with Iowa. We're all going with Western. Leroy picked the Bengals. I picked a tie. America picked the Eagles. Myself and America went with the Bears. Leroy went with the Commanders. We're all with Kansas State. We're all with Fresno State. I picked the Niners, and I picked Notre Dame as the only ones in that matchup. Leroy, I hope you have a good rest of your week.
Yeah.
So I guess you have a Friday night off, right?
I do. I'm taking my wife on a date because it's basketball season right around the corner, and I won't see her till March. So, Sam, you know how that goes.
It's rare to have a Friday night off.
I put my Google Calendar together with UIS's basketball and Texas Roadhouse ball.
Ooh, high roller over there.
Yes, because all the jobs I work. No, UIS basketball and then girls high school basketball, and I've got something going on. I've got at least 2 things going on every week until February.
Yep, I know that feeling all too well. And so my dad and I won. Garden Solstice on chips. Ugh.
She don't like them.
Good. I knew she was the best Kamola. My dad and I won the season ticket lottery for UK basketball. So my dad, they played tonight, their first exhibition. So my dad and my mom got to go. So I'll be able to go to some of the UK basketball games this year. And so that's just adding into more to do. Because Lexington is like an hour and 45 minutes. So it's really not that far, but it's just far enough to where, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just far enough to where after Bengals and basketball and so on, it's just a lot of driving. There's no question about that.
Lonzo Ball came back tonight for the Bulls. It's his first game back in 3 years.
He's somebody that I could not care less about. The Ball family. I'm glad that the Ball family is no
I just
longer
laughed
a thing.
that he was gone for ever.
I'm just glad that they're no longer a thing. Did he score?
He did, Paul. He opened the game up with a 3, but I don't know what the score. Last I saw the score was 17-17, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah, Friday night off though. That's odd. Now I do have to say too, since your wife's not watching, can I be honest?
You can.
Jelly Roll sucks.
Fact. That's why I'm not along.
Okay, I'm glad that I'm
No, I don't disagree, but she got these tickets back in February, and she's never been to a concert in her life. I've been trying to get this woman to go do something for years. And she was like, "Oh, Jelly Roll's going to be in St. Louis." I'm like, "Have fun." So her and Lexi are at the concert tonight in St. Louis, and I am fine with it. Not my cup of... You know what music I listen to? That's not my cup of tea. But she's all happy, and that's good enough for me.
But
I would not sit. I couldn't sit and you couldn't pay me enough to go to that concert.
He was in Louisville 2 weeks ago. Week ago.
Yeah, I saw this. I sent the set list to Christy because she wanted to know what songs he was going to be playing.
And we have a connection to the Center to where, if I wanted to go, I'm not sure if that connection could have pulled off that concert, but for the most part, we can get into almost anyone. If anything else, they can sneak us in the back door kind of thing. But that was one that I would not have had. Now, what's been bad is I've wanted to since I was a kid, Leroy, and we're off topic, but oh well. Since I was a kid, every year for Christmas, I would ask for tickets to see the Harlem Globetrotters. Because the Harlem Globetrotters would come, they would be there December 29th. Or they would be there just a couple of days after Christmas. And every year I would ask for tickets to the Harlem Globetrotters. And never got them. So they go every year. And that person every year is like, do you want tickets? Bulls won 81-80. That's a low-scoring NBA game. But when they come to
Louisville this year?
They always come on a Friday night in January.
Oh, there's no way. There's no way. I know
There's no way. But I'm just I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I would, you just have me, there's all of these 8-year-old boys, they're having the time of their life. And there's me, almost
25-year-old Sam Gorman, yes!
I'm almost 30. I'm not 25. I'm almost 30. Do you know how old I am?
No.
How old am I?
28.
27. I'll be 28 in March. And what are you
60.
58? I was going to say 58. What, 42? 43?
42.
42. I knew you were in that realm. 42. God, you're old. But so yeah, I was going to say that one of these years I'll actually 1997, Paul, was the
27? I think 27. I joined the Army when I was 27.
So does that mean that I'm going to have to do that now? Leave the industry and join the Army?
Well, we talked about it. If you suck long enough, yeah, that's what you got to do.
I don't think that would go over well. I'd have to go to the Naval Academy first.
Yeah.
Go midshipman.
Sam and I said that if we were still working the same job when we were, and I literally said when we were both 40 years old, that we would go down to Florida and go try to like go join an umpire class somewhere and become umpires for minor league baseball. The funny part about that, obviously, is that Sam and I will never be the same age. That's what makes that funny. But
hey, so am I, Paul. Hey, look at us
I did
go.
that too.
Hey, look at us go. Oh man. Next week on the show, who knows what it'll bring? It's the day before Halloween, 1 week from today.
Wear a costume.
Do I have to?
Yes.
Are you going to?
Yes.
I have a costume around here somewhere. I think I have one in I have a container back there that I think I have a costume in. Remind me.
That will be the day that I have physical therapy for the first time. So Leroy might be in high heaven
And grouchy.
that evening. So just a heads up on that.
So you're wanting really hard Leroy's logos next week? Got you. We can do that. We'll see you next week. Good luck with VT.
Thank you.